Hi everyone, I'm editing and I just realized I did not film an intro or an outro, so please enjoy this. Hi everyone, my name is Andrés Pimentel. I make documentaries and video essays. I'm still figuring out what I'm doing here on this channel. This week, I had a conversation with Storyteller and they shared some tips for getting in touch with your spiritual side.
Well, I'm called Storyteller. I don't use a title.
I guess occupation, I didn't know if to put spiritual teacher or I don't know what you prefer.
How about spiritual friend?
Spiritual friend, I like that. How long have you been a spiritual friend? You have quite a bit of experience, right?
I have to go back to 1980, 1990, somewhere back in the late 90s. I came up to a place of challenge in my beloved profession of a nurse midwife. And at that point, going through what I went through to get clear with myself of what my life purpose actually was, I began to recognize that the physical act of being a physical midwife was more of a metaphor for the more spiritual midwifery that I was more suited for in terms of my gift. The gifts that I have really propelled me. So at that point, I turned my life over to spirit. So that's when my life as a spiritual friend really began. You start inside yourself is the most amazing journey you could possibly take. And inside of you, your collective you, every aspect of you, your physical, mental, emotional, psychic, spiritual, whatever, whatever makes this you up in this lifetime, it's all right there in the physical body that you carry and in the environment that you live in and in the experiences that come your way. It's all there. The whole story, everything that you need to know, it's all right there. The trick is learning how to read the book. It is a process and it just starts with looking and questioning and just looking at self, looking in the mirror, looking at your body completely naked and completely clothed in different outfits, but really looking at it and noticing yourself, seeing yourself as if you didn't know you and you were just seeing this person out on the street. What would you notice about them? What attracts you? What's a little not so attractive? What is it that you see? Then after you look, you listen. What is this? What have you written? Have you journaled? Have you expressed yourself to yourself on paper or in art form, in any art form? Whatever art form or creative form you may have expressed yourself, whatever that might be, what is it that you expressed? Look at it, listen to it, go deeply, from when you were little to right now, because the whole thing is a book with a new, totally different alphabet. You get to learn the alphabet by really looking at it, by looking at the pictures first, just like a small child does. It's all right there. And physics will tell you that too, right? And so will spiritual teachers tell you that. The whole is contained in the particle. And the patterns that are there will predict what types of relationships can take place. So as we look deeply into just the surface stuff and then begin to go, if you listen to yourself deeply, if you start out at the surface, they won't stay on the surface. It'll go more deeply. If you take time to really investigate self. I'm not saying you'll learn everything you need to learn, but you'll begin to know who you are. And that's the first and most basic question when wanting to rediscover your essence, which is what you might call your spiritual self, but it's your essence. This physical self, you might imagine, is nothing but particles that conform themselves to a particular, specific, unique, and discrete, differentiated tone, a single tone. That tone is your soul essence. Yeah. This physical universe that we currently occupy is based on sound. It's sound that brings matter to solidity. Yeah, that brings particles into solidity. I think that the physicists have different ways of saying that very same thing. But if you look at the patterns that sound makes, and then you understand that your body is the tone of your soul formed around you, that means that if you really explore yourself all the way in and out, you'll begin to learn the language, I guess is the right way to say it. Your teacher is inside of you. You'll find it to be a journey that is incredibly frustrating, aggravating, provocative, joyful, wondrous, absolutely stunning, and completely blows you out of the water, probably disrupts every notion you thought you had about yourself if you do the journey honestly and authentically and with courage and a willingness to see yourself through the eyes of God's love. And God for Ta is not a person or a spirit, but a mystery that we cannot explain. We can understand or experience through love, because that is the essence as God expresses in our world, is through love. And I don't mean the human emotional love either. I mean that pure love that created a world here that's so perfectly ordered that it all works. Yeah, you go on a walk and you begin to pay attention to what catches your awareness. So did you do that? It sounds like you did. Did you go on this walk and that's where you encountered the cave?
It was absurdly cold. I wanted to catch the sunrise. It was below freezing, so I stayed in bed a little longer. And then finally I went out and it was covered in frost, and the dogs went with me, and it was very nice. It was nice and tiring because, we're at 11,000 feet. But yeah, I paid attention. I noticed the flowers, how the ground was broken up for the fields, how the light filtered through the dogs' bushy fur, the little cows, the mud, and then when we went to the cave, there's a little hole at the top where a beautiful shaft of light fills through. It forced me to stop, thinking, which usually I'd be like overthinking, but it was like just noticing the flowers and this, and trying not to get lost because I hadn't been there in like 6 years. The saplings and the rocks. So yeah, it was nice. It wasn't, I think it was easier. I suppose it's relative, but it was easier than meditating because I could have thoughts, but they were more relaxing than like thinking about the angles or other things. And then, I almost fell a few times, so then I had to make sure I was paying attention to my feet too.
Yes.
Okay.
So make this walk every day with new eyes every day, and notice every day what caught your attention and mark it down.
Okay. I think
mark it down.
For me, that sounds more doable than meditating. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
this is meditating. Okay. Meditating is learning to listen very deeply. So every day, regardless of the weather and how you feel, make a commitment to yourself and set a time that you think you could do this. Now, ideally, if I was being your spiritual friend with a strong forcefulness, I would say do this for a year. And ideally that would be good. And it doesn't have to be to the same location. It's a walk every day, a walk with this same intention every day. It's wonderful if you go to the same place every day, because you'll find that the temptation is to fall into habit. And the assignment is to perceive what you perceive every day. If you're perceiving the same things, then you're not really there fresh with new eyes and new ears. So each time there should be something new that you had not perceived before. Each time you go, okay, now I've seen an awful lot here. I've been here every day now for 3 months, and what more is there to see, right? Then you challenge yourself to look and listen and feel more deeply. First, maybe you thought only sight was what you should, but then you begin to get a little bit saturated with sight and think, what am I hearing? Oh yes, that's right. I can notice hearing too, can't I? when you're able to play music and then gain enough mastery that the music plays you, then you are meditating. When you are worried or concentrating about notes, you're focused, but I would not call that meditating. What's your instrument?
The electric bass.
Okay, so this time, when you play the bass, you don't play anybody else's music. You just start making sounds and playing your own music. That's how you learn to have an intimate relationship with your instrument, so that the instrument begins to play you, because the instrument needs to know you as well. It needs to know how your fingers will relate to it on the neck, how you will cradle it, how you will rock or not. The instrument needs to feel you. And as you do that, you begin to create a dance between you and the instrument, and then the instrument will begin to play you. Listening deeply means you just naturally suspend your you self into this receptive self that wants to take in what it's perceiving, whether that's through whatever sense or all senses, right? So this is a form of meditation. Getting to know yourself is a meditative practice when it's done this way, when it's done with intention and focus and practice. But this is a very solid practice, and it will give you a pathway back. So all around you are clues, and these are clues that answer the questions that you have. And it's up to you to go out into the world with an open mind and an open heart and receive the clues, and then figure out what they're telling you or where they're leading you to. I think that's plenty right there. That's enough for several years, to tell you the truth. If you just do these things steadily and with commitment for yourself, it's not for anyone else. It's however much you commit to it, that's how deeply and authentically you will find yourself and find your path back to what you had when you were very little. Beyond childlike wonder, beyond before you had a concept of yourself as an individual, when you were a very new baby, when you were still your pure self and you were still your spiritual light being. Yeah? It's a very light and very bright beacon for all you young folk now. Those of us born back some generations are not born with the same tone. You folks are born with a higher tone. And so that tone that you came in with is bright, and it was bright enough for your conscious self as a newborn infant, up to about the age of about 8 months for you. It was bright and it was clear. You were very conscious of it. You were in possession of yourself, of your true self, your purpose, why you were there, the whole thing. It's not really remembering, it's rediscovering it. You get to go back by going forward, because you've changed and you've brought into earth and you've brought in this new lifetime and all of these quests that you have for this particular personality and the challenges and karma and so forth and so on, right? It's all a unique mishigish for you, like it is for everybody else. Yeah, this is a noble endeavor. It'll take every ounce of your courage and stamina and commitment to self and willingness and all that stuff. Believe me, it's worth it beyond any words, and it will take everything you have and then some.
Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video. If you liked it, share it with someone. If you have any other tips on how to get in touch with your intuition or higher self, leave a comment. I'll see you next week. I'm really excited to keep making videos. I hope you enjoy watching them as much as I enjoy making them.